What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to I Do It Myself. It's Friday. It is Friday. We made it through another week. I don't know if y'all was on there, but if you haven't, check out my stream. You know what I'm saying? Check out my stream. You will be judged. We be on there listening to music. I was on stream yesterday for 3.5 hours. Man, it was a journey. For the ones that I didn't get back to that was setting the supers, we back Saturday. I'll let y'all know the times. We usually do Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. till 10. But Saturday may be a little bit different. I'll let y'all know Saturday early on a post on the community feed. But today we talking about Lil Wayne. You know, Lil Wayne, he did a piece with Rolling Stone. Andre G is the one who did the story, and I gotta salute him. Reading the story, he had to chase Wayne a lot. It seemed like, like back in the days when journalists had to run around to get good interviews, and it's a little bit different dynamic because it's been a minute since I've sat down and read an entire interview, and I didn't read it in a magazine. Excuse me, I didn't read it in a magazine. So I like where Wayne is at in his life. Him being 42, going on 43 like myself, 82 babies and all of that. He seems to have like a bit of clarity as far as like just what he wants in life and what he needs to do. Now there's some things in there that we're going to talk about and we're going to address, but for the most part, he's talking about, just being around his family, loving sports, loving what he's doing with music. No matter what he does, he goes to the studio. And I think like that's what it's about. When I was coming up in music, that's all it was about. You know what I mean? Like no matter what was going on, if you had a show, if you had a photo shoot, you always ended up at the studio because that was the basis and the foundation of everything that you was doing. So there's this one part in here when Wayne says he was basically being asked about like how does he feel about being slighted about things, and he answers. He says, "Imagine you're the player coach, still averaging 30 a night, and a nigga asking you, hey, do you feel slighted that they didn't put you in the coach type of conversations?" He says, no, I'm still dropping 30 a night. I'm fine being the best rapper, and then you just found out, oh, he owns Young Money too. I mean, I feel like when Wayne talks about certain things, he has like this obscure view that comes from like this point of view where he's like this caveman that doesn't know anything. And that's what I'm really gonna address towards the end of the conversation that we having today. But I mean, I think that people love and respect Wayne. I mean, I still love and respect Wayne as an artist, but I think that some of the stuff that he may say, I don't know if he thinks people don't look at him a certain way like that. You know what I'm saying? I always say that I felt like Wayne was one of the most disrespected rappers when it comes to just rapping. Now, there's a conversation to be had outside of rap when he says things or does things and it changes your perception on him at that moment. But if we talking about just go to the stats, like, you know what I mean? Like, just go to the stats. Don't talk about the off the court. Just go just straight to the stats. And when I mean stats, I'm not talking about Billboard and all of that. I'm talking about skill set. I'm talking about at one point in time how when he said best rapper alive, and everybody felt like that was such a disrespectful thing for him to say, how he was able to like make that claim be a little bit higher based on the work that he was putting in. Now, music's subjective. You know what I'm saying? Music's subjective. To me, I hold certain artists in certain places that can't be moved, that can't be removed, that can't be moved around. Wayne is one of them that I feel like he doesn't have to acknowledge it. Like, I don't expect Wayne to say, yeah, they don't really treat me the way I should be treated. And he's done stuff like that sometimes. And he even says something in this interview. But I think as far as like music, anybody that's trying to challenge or remove what he's done as an artist is like, you got to be like out of your mind to think some shit like that. Like, you got to be completely out of your mind to think at any point in time when you talk about music, you talk about rap, and you bring up Wayne to say, oh, he ain't that or he ain't this. And I think a lot of that came around like the Super Bowl, right? When the Super Bowl thing was happening, people get in their feelings and they get in their feelings fast. And a lot of people was in their feelings because Kendrick was having his moment. And I mean, yeah, Wayne did take a lot of opportunity to make it about him. He took a lot of opportunity to make it about him. And during those moments, we was like kind of disgusted with what he was saying, but you still cannot remove the work he's put in. You know what I'm saying? I think like that's what even drove the Kendrick line on Whacked Out Murals, you know what I mean? Where he said, I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down, because I think that Kendrick respects Wayne and holds him in that same space that I myself and a lot of other people hold Wayne in, right? But he says that he vows he'll no longer consider playing the Super Bowl. They stole that feeling. I don't want it. Now Wayne. Now Wayne, like, now listen, brother, you got to stop it. I can understand. I can understand how it feels to want something so bad and to feel so close but yet so far and then feel like, you know what, I'm done with it. But even by them standards, even with that said, as much as because Wayne's mindset when he talks, you know what I mean? When this reporter, Andre G, is like explaining certain things, his mindset when he talks makes me feel that, and he should always hold himself as the highest or the best or whatever. But it also makes me realize how much he doesn't understand that the thing about the old times is they the old times. You know what I'm saying? And changes happen. Changes is natural. Changes, even though a lot of times we don't like change, like it's always for progress for the most part. Like it's for progress. It's not like the spot that's occupied as seemingly the best rapper right now. Everybody or a lot of people might lean that towards Kendrick, like it's a person that we don't love or respect. You know what I'm saying? Like I think like if it was a person that people didn't generally love or respect, then we could all have something wrong with it. But you have to you got to read the room. You got to read the room, my G. You got to really understand, like, okay, as good as you is, you don't jump as high as you used to. Like I watched videos. I seen this video on OJ Mayo and Michael Jordan today, right? And it was Michael Jordan saying how he had this camp, and OJ Mayo started talking crazy to him because OJ Mayo, I ain't gonna front. When he was in high school, he was like one of the best players ever in high school. And how Mike made everybody from the camp leave, and he wanted to show OJ Mayo, like, yeah, like I still could give it to you. And I what I think in that sense when it comes to Wayne is, yeah, Wayne still rap. Wayne don't miss a beat when it comes to rapping, but perception wise, people don't feel that same way that they used to about his bars today. And I think that just happens with age, right? It's like for me being a day one fan of Wayne, I'm the same age as him. I've been on this journey with him his whole, like more than half his life, as well as he's been doing it more than half his life. So everything that might mean something to me don't mean that same to the general fan or the casual fan of today like it was when he was the man back then, right? But we will talk a little bit more about that. I mean, Wayne has, on the Carter 6, it's a song with him and his sons on there. I'm looking forward to hearing that because he's also saying, he was asked would he be open to doing like a sequel to like Father Like Son with his sons, and he said that he'd be open to something like that. You know what I mean? I know that his sons have put out music. I'm not going to sit here in front and be like, nah, I'm in tune with everything. I've never listened to one of Lil Wayne's son's songs, but I would like to know what that looks like, right? Like seeing a day and age where Bron and Bronny is on the same team, that's fatherhood at its highest level. Wayne keeping his sons with him and doing music with them and putting them on songs because it's songs with features that he gonna have with his sons on it. That's fatherhood at its highest level from a music standpoint. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that could go. You know what I mean? I think that's a good conversation. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a really, really, really good conversation. Now I want to get into this situation about the Super Bowl, right? Let's just go. Okay, so there's this part where they ask him about the Super Bowl, and he says to perform, it's a bunch of things they're gonna tell you to do and not to do. Asses to kiss and not to kiss, he explains, right? It says, if you notice, I was a part of things I never been a part of in my life. Michael Rubin's all white parties. You know how people be feeling about the all white parties. You know what I'm saying? But he also says, I'm doing shit with Tom Brady. That was all for that. You ain't never see me in them types of venues. I ain't Drake. Like when I seen him say that, I was like, damn, what the hell Drake did? He said, I ain't Drake. But I think that, Wayne is just saying it generally, but of course it's gonna come across like, when you hear that, if you come from a certain environment and you hear somebody say, I ain't somebody, then it means like you trying to play them. I don't think that's the case. You know what I mean? He said, I ain't out there smiling like that everywhere. I'm in the stew, smoking and recording. You know what I mean? He says that one of the NFL people said to him, we ain't in charge, that all of a sudden, according to them, they got curved, so they just have to settle with whatever they say. He says that Jay-Z, who he calls a close friend, runs Roc Nation. You know, last year the halftime Super Bowl producer Jesse Collins and Roc Nation, Jay-Z and Roc Nation has been the ones choosing it since 2019. I think everybody should go get read this article though, but it's really dope. Hold on one second, y'all. Now I'm about to get into a few things regarding Wayne where I feel like Wayne, he doesn't play, no, he has played victim in certain instances. But I don't like this whole angle about like I don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? I don't like this whole angle of him acting like, what? Cheese is yellow? Like, you know what I mean? Like this, he'll say the most outrageous thing that's obvious and just common knowledge, and then everybody be like, well, you know, he live in his own world. It's like, yo, bro, come on. Like, it comes to a point. It come to a point where you got to stop that shit. Like, you know what I mean? It comes to a point. Hold on. Oh, so, you know, of course, he was asked about the tweet about don't wake the giant up. And it says, I sound like I'm talking about the media when he was asked about who he was talking about. It says, because when he says, in fact, that when he says they, he's talking about the media or whatever. He said, I'm going to give you a perfect example, right? He said he went on stage and I was singing a song. And now this is the most ridiculous part of this interview to me. It's two parts that to me that is like ultimately ridiculous. He says, I'm going to give you an example, right? He says, when I went on stage, I was singing a song and they thought I was dissing. The song was Not Like Us. Kendrick Lamar smash hit, right? And he says, hold on. It says, DJ Mustard produced Takedown. Wayne burrows his face into his arm in an accent chair while laughing about unknowingly rapping along to the Drake diss track. I want my dude, he said, I ain't want my dude to be mad at me, he says. I didn't even know it was Kendrick. Now, Wayne. It comes to a point, my nigga. You was a grown man. You got a grown daughter too. Like, bro, like there was a time where we used to really believe that. And let's say Wayne is as clueless as he portrays himself to be. Let's say that he is as clueless as he portrays himself to be. I think that like he may not care, and nobody around him might not tell him to care, but y'all gotta let him know how ridiculous this makes him sound and look. We in a time where people don't only hear music no more, they see it. And when I mean that is like, they'll look at you, and if they looking at you funny, they don't even want to listen. Now, don't get me wrong, right? Wayne is a icon. He's an artist that he set the bar extremely high and people had to go get it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that not only has he set that bar high, but he also was the example of what a lot of these young dudes wanted to be. Because if Wayne wasn't doing the stuff Wayne was doing, you don't get a Thug, you don't get a Trippie Redd, you don't get half of the majority of these dudes out here, majority of these young rappers, Playboy Cardi, Lil Uzi, like all of them that became stars, you know what I'm saying, had influence from Wayne. It's impossible to not. It's like if people from the 90s, it's like if people from the 90s say, oh, I wasn't listening to Pac. Like, I didn't listen to Pac, but you got a nose ring. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just certain things, from everything from music to aesthetic. So for Wayne to say that he was singing Not Like Us, arguably, debatably, the biggest diss song in hip-hop history, and he's one of the biggest rappers in hip-hop history, and Drake is his artist, you mean to tell me you ain't know that was like, stop it, brother. Stop it. Like, it comes to a point where you gotta stop that shit. Because if you want to say, yo, listen, I ain't gonna front, even though that record is against Drake, who is my brother, I love him to death, I would never do nothing blatantly to disrespect him, I like the song. Like I think like that's more respectable than saying you don't know. Like come on, bro. Like you gotta stop playing around saying shit like that because I think ultimately, and that's what I was saying about like how people they hear like how they hear music. It's like a person to say, yo, that album is out, and then be like, yo, when it came out Friday, what it did the first day, and then go listen to it. Because like the numbers, some people are so into numbers and so into stats that they think the only way something could possibly be good is if it has big numbers. So I think like when you say certain things, vice versa, it turns people off. It makes them say like, bro, what? Like, all right, bro, we off. Like, we don't even want to hear that shit that you got to say. But there's another conversation, right? And it goes into Jay-Z and Kanye's album, Watch the Throne. Now Wayne. Now Wayne. All right, so I guess Andre says something, and he says Kanye Jay-Z's album, right? And Wayne replies, they did an album? All right. All right. He says the rest of the room spends the next 5 minutes playing songs from the iconic 2011 album to jog Wayne's memory. He looks bewildered, trying to decipher the opening moments of Otis, asking Twist if he ever freestyled to it. Twist shakes his head no. Though he doesn't recall, excuse me. Though he does recall Niggas in Paris and No Church in the Wild. So you telling me, Wayne, you don't know watch it. All right, bro. This is and that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the part, these is the parts of like I wouldn't even want, like, even given the benefit of the doubt, and you really didn't know that, I wouldn't even want people to know that I didn't know that. Like, I wouldn't want people to know that I didn't know that Watch the Throne exists. For Jay-Z to be your good friend and for him to be somebody who you emulated and you followed and you patterned your style after, and a person who's been in your life and helped you through numerous things, and even quoting in this interview saying that he's always a text message away, I would have pulled him to the side like, yo, bro, we ain't taking that. Because it's just, hip hop fans, we are fanatics. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop fans are fanatics. And right now, fandom is as intense as it's ever been, especially with social media. And I just think it's it's a bad look to sit out here as an adult, damn near 50. Because, I mean, listen, at 43, 42, no, you're not 50 yet, but in 7 years, you will be. It'll be here faster than you know it. And to pretend, or if you don't know stuff like that, it just bugs me out. But with all that being said, I do believe that Wayne does deserve, everything that's coming to him as far as what he's doing with his artistry. I want to know what a Carter 6 album would sound like, because that's like really high when it comes to, sequels, especially with albums. I would like to know what it sounds, what it feels like, the features that's gonna be on there, and I'm looking forward to the album. But Wayne gotta stop acting like he don't know shit. Yo, this is I Do It Myself, y'all. We're working on dropping more content, more episodes, more streams. So I finally got my streaming stuff together, and I'm getting the hang of it, and I really, really, really like it. So make sure if you can, pull up to the stream. It is on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. and Saturday. I'm gonna work out the time. The NBA playoffs is gonna be on this Saturday, so I really, really got to figure out how I'm gonna do it and how much time I'm gonna spend towards it. But basically, what it is, what you will be judged is, I'm creating a platform for new up and coming artists to be heard. You get a chance to send in your music. If you want to send in a super chat, that's fine. That does prioritize your song to an extent. You don't have to, though. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to. I'm really doing this because I really enjoy doing it, and I really enjoy having dialogue with people when it comes to music. This is I Do It Myself. For the ones that rock with me, you know how we doing. For the ones that don't, eventually you will. Peace. Have a good weekend.